Rob DiLauro, and with me as always, Miss Sith Jade. Sith, what's going on?
Hi, guys.
And also Miss Di Marie. Di, what's going on with you?
Hi, guys. I'm happy to be back.
So this is episode 10. We've actually hit a pinnacle now, which is awesome. Just like every other week, we just want to say thank you very much for your continued love and support. Please smash that like button for us. Definitely gets it, out to more people. And we'll just continue bringing the geek fire here at Pop Jedi. So we got a lot to talk about this week. A pretty slow news week for the most part, but surprisingly, there was some really juicy stuff. So we'll start with you, Sith. What's going on in Top Jedi this week?
Yeah, I would say I've got some big news. So Disney just came out with a lightsaber. Their chairman, Josh, he went up on stage and just unveiled this retractable lightsaber that's never been seen before. That's something that nobody's done. So everyone was really freaking out about that. There's not any like schematics that show exactly how it works or what they're going to do with it, but it will be in production soon and it's going to be available at the park. So that's really, really exciting.
So basically what it is like the hilt just works like perfectly, like it actually goes and
yeah, so it's a hilt. And there was a guy on Twitter, he posted like a mini video that somebody posted. It was like a concept and it was two tape measures and it was kind of showing like a pulley system and it raised up out of the hilt. So that's what we think it's going to be, but we're not sure yet.
Oh my God, what if it was just a real lightsaber?
I mean, that one person made that one that like can actually cut through stuff. So, but yeah, I don't think Disney could legally do that and sell that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I heard, like some utterings about that. Obviously they're being really top secret about it. And when are they supposed to unveil that?
They don't have an exact release date yet. I would say he just showed it on stage for his presentation in the beginning of April. So they don't have an exact release date for it yet. So I'm assuming within the next couple of months, but yeah, nothing yet.
Diana, what's up in Top Jedi this week?
So in the summer, we are going to have the Ghostbusters Cereal hit grocery store shelves. So it's described as a fruity, sweet corn puff cereal with ghosts and ectoplasm marshmallows. Ooh. So I'm guessing that's going to be pretty similar to the Mandalorian Grogu cereal that came out last year.
Mm.
I mean, it was really good. So I'm excited.
Do you guys remember when the Bill and Ted cereal came out when we were kids? And it was like, and the company that produced it was Purina. Remember that?
Yes, I do remember that. I thought that was really strange, but I mean.
Yeah, it was like dog food and Bill and Ted cereal.
I wasn't a big cereal eater growing up, so I never
there's probably some sort of parallel there.
Yeah, something.
So in Top Jedi news, we had some really awesome casting news this week. I am a huge fan of the Hannibal NBC series that unfortunately got canceled. I was actually rallying for that show every single year that I was in the horror genre. It's just like, you guys got to contact NBC, can't let this go.
Yeah.
So we got a pretty solid ending for the most part.
It was so open-ended. I wanted more.
Yeah, it was so open-ended, but for you fanfic people, oh man,
yeah,
what an ending.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, you got some story fodder after that. So Mads Mikkelsen, he's just a phenomenal actor, and women and men and everybody just go absolutely insane for this guy. But he's also the franchise king. And this guy is just dominating every single franchise there possibly is. He's in Star Wars. He's in the James Bond franchise. Recently just he caught Johnny Depp's part in Fantastic Beasts. Yep. And now he's actually going to be part of the Indiana Jones universe in Indiana Jones 5. They didn't really necessarily say if he's going to be a villain or not, but I would guess if, it is Mads Mikkelsen, he would be the villain. But he didn't. When he played Galen Erso wasn't a villain technically. He was just working for the Empire as as an architect for the Death Star. So he has played good guys too. I don't know. It's very hush hush right now what he's going to be doing, but it's amazing that he's just his track record is just absolutely incredible. What's next in Top Jedi?
So next we have something that wasn't supposed to be talked about, but Alfred Molina was too excited to keep this under wraps. He's going to be returning as Doc Ock in Spider-Man No Way Home, which I fangirled not so small.
Actually, can I
over
correct
that.
you on that? I don't think Alfred Molina was excited. I just don't think he gives a shit.
he just wanted to talk about it just to talk about it. But yeah. And then Jamie Foxx also on Instagram, there was a post that alluded that there was going to potentially be 3 different Spider-Man, and they told him he had to take that down. So there's quite a bit of spoilers now floating around between the 2 of them for that.
Yeah. So what are they going to do? I mean, like he was spilling the tea all over the place, and then he just acts like, Jerry Seinfeld's uncle. Like, what? I'm an old man.
What?
I don't know what I'm talking about,
It's the perfect excuse.
I really, honestly, I just don't think he cares. I think, he's probably like, I'm in my 70s, they get rid of me. I don't really care. I don't know why this is, I don't think he's like part of like the whole spoiler world, like he's this old seasoned actor, just did an incredible job in Promising Young Woman, which I highly recommend if you guys haven't seen that. Yeah. One of my favorite movies. So Alfred Molina's an older guy. I just don't think he cares. He's just like, you know what? Like, why are they keeping me a big secret?
Enough. Yeah, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about.
I got crow's feet and a bad back, and why am I a big secret? And he went out there and he just dropped everything. He said, what did he say? He said, talk to the director, and the director said, like, this is exactly where it's going to end. Where it ended in Spider-Man 2 is where it begins. And
he was talking about they might have his arms be CGI this time. Like there was so much stuff that he just dropped. But I mean, now we kind of have an idea, whereas before it was like all very tight-lipped and hush-hush. So a little bit of spoilers.
Oh, I'm sure there was a meeting after that. I'm certain of it.
No, shame.
I'm certain of it. And you said Jamie Foxx just dropped a bunch of news too.
Yeah. He went on Instagram and he made a post about it. But it was deleted like the next day. They were like, no, you can't do this. It's Tom Holland all over again. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I bet he's like, I bet you thought it was gonna be me, didn't you? Like, I don't even know why he used a little kid voice. What is he, like 26, 27?
He's my age, yeah.
Mr. Stark.
No.
What's next in Top Jedi?
So I had to write this down, but the Lord of the Rings series hitting Amazon Prime. This was announced in 2017. We don't have an actual release date for the show yet, but this is going to be one of the most expensive TV productions in history. Yeah. So for one season, it's looking like it's costing about $465 million to produce. To put that in perspective, Game of Thrones was about $15 million an episode. So this is going to be a pretty penny here. And then Amazon also had to pay about $250 million for the rights to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I would say that I wasn't surprised about because it's obviously, it's Lord of the Rings. Huge. So they're going to have to pay a big chunk of money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the whole point is that Lex Luthor gets what he wants. And, like Jeff Bezos, he was a fan of the Lord of the Rings, and one of his executives said, hey, let's get something for the boss, and they, used Amazon money to, like buy the rights to Lord of the Rings. Yeah, here's the problem. Impressive. The problem is it's based, on Second Earth, which is the forming of the rings or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, hey kids, you like hobbits? Ain't in here. You like Aragorn? Nope.
Not here.
Boromir? Nope. None of it. So, so the thing is like, if you're going to spend all this money, how are you certain that's a surefire winner? You know what I mean?
Oh, it's just for the costumes. Like that, all of that money is literally just for the costumes and the props. That's not even going to include anything else, the sets, the actors, anything.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. It's like, how do you know that's a surefire winner if you're not bringing anything that people actually loved about Peter Jackson's version back? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that's a hell of a roll of the dice. Gamble. So the next in Top Jedi, of course, is the release of the official Army of the Dead trailer. And, you guys know how we feel about Zack Snyder here. I don't think it's a big surprise. I wasn't really sold on the actual teaser for Army of the Dead. And I love Dawn of the Dead. I love his remake of Dawn of the Dead. And this is technically a pseudo spin-off of that. But when that trailer came out, I mean, it was so damn exciting and fun and all of that stuff that you couldn't help but fall in love with it. And now I'm like completely sold on the movie. Like, because it's not just, Zack Snyder is. Oh yeah, dude. It's I mean, there's so many different things that I saw, you know, as a film fan, like even movies that didn't really like take with other people, but are like so like beloved by the cult audience, like John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars, for example. I saw like a lot of that in there. You know, a little bit of Train to Busan, you know, where he had the deer that, you know, like revives himself in the beginning of the movie, you know, with the animals and stuff. Just, you know, just this like, it's just a hodgepodge of explosive awesome, man. I mean, there's really nothing else to say about it.
Yep.
And, you know, they announced that Tig Notaro is actually going to be, comedian Tig Notaro is going to be part of the cast, and they green screened her in so they can get rid of that scumbag Chris D'Elia. You can quote me on that. I don't care.
You can quote me as really well. Don't. That's totally fine.
You know, so I, you know, so I'm all about that meme. You know, like any awful guy that's in Hollywood, just you know, just drop in a lesbian, like you know.
Drop a lesbian.
I'm totally fine with it.
It's a really good fit. It's gonna fit in very, very well.
I'm really just excited for him. You know, because this is you know, that's the funny thing that people tend to act like, you know, because of Justice League 2017 and all the issues with that, and you know, supposedly like, you know, there weren't enough viewers for the Snyder cut or whatever, that this guy's hurting. He's not hurting at all.
He's not hurting at all.
Not hurting at all. He owns this property. This is his world. You know what I mean? So like the cartoon spinoff that's coming from this, and the series, Army of the Dead series that's coming from this, the Origin series or whatever, he owns all of it. He's doing very well for himself. He's okay.
Yeah.
He's not destitute.
I'm proud of him. I'm very happy for his success.
What did you guys think of the trailer? Were you excited about it?
What popped out to me was how they did the zombies so differently, because there's been so many zombie movies that have come out lately that it seems like it's kind of hard to create an original story. But the fact that these zombies are actually intelligent now, it seems like they have the skills and abilities from like the vampires from 30 Days of Night and what was the other one that I was thinking about? I Am Legend.
Yeah.
This could help or hurt the zombie genre. I don't think it will hurt. Actually, I
don't think it would hurt at all.
No, I don't think it does either. I mean, you'll get those people that are just like, you know, George Romero Pierce that are just like, you know, they need to be slow. And it's like, you know, it's been going on for years.
I'm excited. Zombies. I want lethal zombies. I want them running at me full force. That's what we want.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. You know, like, you know, anything that reinvigorates something, you know, especially, you know, myself as a horror fan, I'm totally into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, like, yeah, there's a bunch of zombie stuff out there, but a lot of it's, you know, a few things aside, or, you know, kind of getting, you know,
it's the same thing.
Stale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you know, bringing something new to the table doesn't hurt. Same thing with vampires. Same thing with, you always have to revive that, you know, that passion and, you know, that people have for them. So I think this is going to be good for Zach.
Looks like it's going to be really epic.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's gonna be great. So we are Pop Jedi. So we got some kind of news when it comes to Star Wars. So Sith, what's next to Top Jedi?
Yeah, it's a little bit of tea. So Katie Sackhoff, of course, that played Bo-Katan in The Mandalorian, she kind of alluded to that no one had any idea who was going to be saving Grogu, who was going to show up. They kept it very, very tight-lipped, very under wraps, and come to find out that was true. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody even had an inclination about who was going to show up. And she was they were tricked into thinking that it was going to be Master Plo Koon. He was a part of the Jedi High Council. He was in the Clone Wars as well. He commanded his own battalion, the 104th Battalion, did a lot of really dangerous missions. So that's who they thought it was going to be. And I think that would have been really epic because he's a very strong character. We wanted to talk about Falcon the Winter Soldier, which is something we didn't really talk about on this show. You know, before we get to the actual, like, you know, the innards of this conversation. I mean, the best question for you guys is, it seemed like all of us when this show first started that we're on board. You know, it's a Marvel property. There's a lot of things we love about, you know, Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes as characters. But we weren't really
sure what was going to come of it. You know what I mean? Like where our feelings are going to be, where our emotions going to be, you know, when it comes to the sexual journey of these two, you know, I mean, at the time they were kind of second tier characters to a certain degree.
Yep.
You know, so what are your feelings on this show now that we're into, well, we're at the penultimate episode. This episode 6 is going to be the last part of this run. Because I feel so much differently than I did when it first started.
Same. I would say my emotions are all over the place because I went into it not being super sold. I was excited about it, but I had just come off of the high of WandaVision, so I had this image in my head of, oh, this is what they're going to create from now on. This is kind of the vibe we're going with. And then Winter Soldier, it started off a little bit slow, and then we just started hitting heavy with all the different elements, the real life parallels, and I just was not expecting it. But I'm happy that they're doing that.
Yeah. What about you, Diane?
Kind of like what you guys were saying, I wasn't very sold. This isn't my favorite Marvel spin-off that I've seen, but I do like how it seems like it's opening doors for what's coming up with Marvel, like seeing Contessa, Valentina, which we're going to get into later, and just seeing where we're going to go with John Walker. And yeah, it's a lot.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to you guys because we talked about WandaVision quite a bit because we're all pretty much in love with it. I am definitely a WandaVision devotee, as I've sure I said before. But as much as I love WandaVision, and it was so, and a lot of the context of that was very brave in regards to, you know, a woman's depression and, you know, losing a love and all that stuff. That was really brave of them to do that. But this would be the show that, you know, honestly, if like, you know, you were talking to somebody that wasn't really a big fan of superhero stuff and they're just like, oh, it's just hokey bullshit or whatever, you know what I mean? You can't get any real story out of that kind of thing. I think this would be the Marvel property that I would show them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it does kind of run more like a John Wick spy thriller espionage type of thing. But it does have all these real life parallels, you know, as well. Really bold parallels, mind you, if you're paying attention. I think, you know, very recently they weren't, you know, they're pretty open about where this is going, you know, what they were driving at. So yeah, this is, this was definitely, this is definitely a win for Marvel, but you know, like this is also like the show where I see Marvel Studios maturing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like this is a show for adults.
Yeah, because it's real life topics and it's stuff that's happening literally every day in our country, and just to see it brought into something that's so popular, and that's a big risk, but they did it anyway, and they did it very successfully.
Right, but just that fight, you know, between Bucky and Sam, and you know, where they're trying to get that shield off of John Walker, that's brutal. We've never seen anything like that. I mean, that was hard knuckle knockdown drag out. I'm going to take your arm off if you don't give me this shield.
Yeah.
And
when they were pulling against him. Yeah, they did. Like I was not expecting that. I was expecting him more to drop it and let it go and just kind of be like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be this much responsibility, because how do you go into that knowing exactly what's going to come with being Captain America?
So we're actually going to focus on the episodes everyone's watching in truth, which is the episode that just dropped. But yeah, you know, I guess that really for me, the only thing that I really seriously need to talk about when it comes to everyone's watching is that, you know, unfortunately, you know, you do have to talk about some real stuff when it comes to where they're going, you know, with the actual actions of John Walker in those final moments of that episode. And, you know, myself being a former soldier, you know, seeing a man who is Black and Hispanic, you know, in uniform, basically being, you know, harassed and, just treated just like a complete utter piece of garbage by a Virginia police officer. That's pretty much what this show is to me. This is, like even before Isaiah Bradley even utters a word, this was Sam Wilson wrestling with the fact that he could not take on a mantle of something that doesn't necessarily represent him. And that's a cold, hard truth, and I'm not a self-hater or anything like, oh, I'm white, I hate myself or whatever. But like, when you think of things like that, especially now in 2021, where we haven't really, things are better,
they're getting better, but
we've barely scratched the surface when it comes to race relations and I mean, stories like this, are important for sure. Like sometimes when you're watching something that you're really entertained by and you love, like the characters or whatever, it doesn't hurt to learn a little something. And that moment when John Walker actually kills that flag smasher, just said so much to me. It spoke to me in regard to seeing Derek Chauvin, resting on the neck of George Floyd for 8 minutes last year, 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
It was a very eerie parallel. It really was.
Yeah, it was. And I think it was actually Mark Bernardin who made a great quote. I think you gave it to me. And it was basically that Steve Rogers is America the way we want it to be. John Walker is who we are.
Who we are. Yeah.
And that's the truth. If John Walker was, like there really was a Captain America, he would be the Captain America that we deserve, I think, in certain regards. And that, again, that's another parallel in itself. I mean, this is a guy who, wore a different uniform and was completely, like he was treated like a hero, and but still didn't he didn't get to wrestle those demons that he had, due to all the horrible things that people were celebrating him for. Yeah. I think that's the one thing that people don't understand when it comes to, soldiering or being part of the military is that, when you get these medals of honor and stuff, like, people see you as, like it's a heroic thing, but you saw the darkness and horrors and dangers of that. So you're not celebrating that, you know what I mean? It's not a celebration for you. It's something that stays in your head. And John Walker is, kind of like a product of a man who, already had, all these, mental situations going on with him. And yet, and has this huge responsibility playing at his feet. So I wouldn't necessarily say that John Walker is a villain. I think he's actually kind of a good guy. I think he just doesn't know this. This is a huge responsibility to be Captain America's huge thing.
I think he's tormented. I mean, when you served as long as he did, and when he was saying the stuff that he was saying in front of the council, he was like, "You made me. This is what you taught me to be. This is how you taught me to act, to protect, to serve. But now that I'm wearing a different outfit, it's suddenly no longer okay." And that made me tear up, because I have friends that have literally said almost the exact same sentence, that once the narrative changed, once the situation changes, that it's now you're a bad guy. Now you're a bad person.
It focuses on race, and it also focuses on, the way that soldiers are treated in this country.
Military injustice. Yeah.
Because honestly, like you were saying in that court martial, or they were going to court martial him, but they decided against it because of his record. He still lost all of his benefits, everything.
Yeah, they stripped him of everything, and that was just it. They were like, "Nope, you did this, and now you're done. Now you're gone."
Do you have anything to say about Everyone's Watching, Diana?
You guys pretty much hit the nail on the head. It was a really hard episode to watch.
Yeah, we're fans of Chris Evans and Steve Rogers, right? So, you're seeing a man who has all these different virtues. That's why he was able to, pick up Mjolnir so easily, because he was just
He was a good man.
Almost a perfect man in so many ways. But it was almost where Steve wasn't real. You know what I mean? Like his values and his honor system and stuff isn't part of this world now. And it's only 6 months after the snap, right? It seems like a more darker, harsher world than anything that we've seen in the MCU, for sure. You know, especially, you know, with the Flag Smashers and, you know, wanting to, you know, just be like, you know, citizens of the planet, you know, getting rid of borders and all that stuff. I mean,
when Carly said that line, that I teared up and I was crying, because it's like, why do we have to keep fighting just to live, just to exist?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about Isaiah Bradley real fast. Diana, you know, not knowing so much about the character, you know, what are your thoughts on that whole narrative? You know, when it comes to just everything that character said, that, you know, unfortunately rang so true. I mean, you know, especially a lot of older Black gentlemen, they definitely feel that way, for sure. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them for the, you know, but yeah, that was a hard hitting scene for me to, you know. But what are your feelings on the whole Isaiah story? Do you hope it goes somewhere?
I think that with Isaiah Bradley, just the whole narrative on the super soldier and how he was mistreated in history, this actually happened. And when he said that his history's been erased for the past 500 years, like, why would he want to be represented by Captain America and pledge allegiance to that? It was just, it's heartbreaking. And I know that a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it is true. And people do need to learn about these kinds of stories.
Well, I think the interesting thing about it is that, you know, if you guys aren't familiar, this is one of Marvel's like best kept secrets. There was a 7-issue run that came out called Truth, and this is where the Isaiah Bradley character came from. You know, or you know, the Black Captain America. I think the thing that's most interesting about it is that, you know, in this particular storyline is it's kind of, you know, it's kind of congruent to what happens in the comic series, you know, where he goes off to, you know, save, you know, his brothers, you know what I mean? And, you know, he basically did everything, like, you know, from point A to point B, everything that Steve Rogers did, you know, when it came to the Howling Commandos, I think it is in the first one. When it came to Bucky and his friends, you know, like he did the same thing. He just, you know, came in guns blazing, you know, to rescue him. Isaiah Bradley did the exact same thing, and he gets jailed for 30 years for it. You know, loses the love of his life because he doesn't even get her letters. And
so heartbreaking.
And, you know, I think the great thing about it is, you know, they could have been all Marvel about it and like, you know, like, yeah, we're seeing Isaiah in a suit, you know, in the Captain America suit, you know, running around with the shield or whatever. But honestly, if you're not, you know, just first of all, that performance is spectacular anyway, right? So you don't necessarily need any flashbacks or anything.
No.
But you're also seeing Sam. You're here, you know, this guy is listening to him. You know what I mean? Every single word. He's falling on every single word. He's taking it to heart. You know, so if you're, you know, actually like, you know, cutting into, you know, like these action scenes or whatever, I don't think it would have the same resonance as, you know, just, you know, having two, you know, gentlemen of color talking to each other and, you know, like one being told the absolute truth. Like, you know, no self-respecting Black man would want to take on this responsibility. Like, it's just not.
And you could see, as soon as he said that, you could see the look on Sam's face about how hard he was questioning himself, because he was already questioning if he was worthy, if anyone could be worthy of holding this shield again.
I'm glad that they didn't make the show what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be this lethal weapon knockoff.
Buddy cop, kind of like,
Yeah. And, you know, like you can tell these guys really, you know, not to say that, you know, Riggs and Murtaugh didn't love and respect each other, obviously, but, you know, like it doesn't have that kind of resonance for me. You know what I mean? Where like, it's more, I don't know, there's a deeper meaning there. It's two guys, you know, literally trying to find each other and, you know, and, you know, like becoming friends through all of it, you know, like, you know, really getting an understanding for each other. So let's talk about the the cameo. This was it's so funny because, everybody likes to speculate and they just fish, you know what I mean? Like there was literally people that they got like Google View maps, of where they filmed this particular scene just to see if they could actually get a glimpse of like a little dot of who this person is. Some people are saying, it's a woman, she's blonde, whatever. And there's all these speculations. And then all of a sudden, John Walker's sitting there after his trial and we see Julia Louis-Dreyfus, which is awesome. So cool.
I love how she just positioned herself in between them. She's like, excuse me, this is where I sit now. You have no say.
Took over. Yeah.
It's just awesome because, like we were saying before, there's, a lot of people don't feel the way that we feel about this stuff. And if you're getting constant firepower, like Redford, like, Douglas and like Julie Louis-Dreyfus, who's, like there was a point when she was on Veep. Like if you're up for an Emmy, don't even bother showing up because it's going to Julie Louis-Dreyfus. You know what I mean? Like she's winning every year. That gives Marvel a lot of firepower. You know what I mean? And it'll bring in new audience members that initially wouldn't necessarily watch a superhero show. It's like, oh my God, Julie Louis-Dreyfus is part of the Marvel universe now.
Name. Yeah.
It's a huge name. But she's also, from all intents and purposes, Madam Hydra, which, like she's just kind of like an operative that just kind of juggles around, you know what I mean? She's part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
She goes wherever it's convenient for her and how much leverage she can gain.
So I guess my question to you guys is, what is her intent with John Walker? Do you think it has to do with my theory and like forming the Thunderbolts, or do you think it's something else? Or
absolutely.
Do you think she's working with Thunderbolt Ross?
Yeah.
What do you think, Diana?
If we don't see that.
What do you think, Diana?
I'm wondering if they're going to do another maybe spin-off with the super soldiers, because when she approached John Walker, she knew everything.
Yeah.
And she told him that taking the super soldier serum made him very valuable. So I'm wondering if maybe they're going to bring Hydra back, or I don't know. I just think that they're going to have a lot of open-ended questions by the end of the show.
I think Hydra's always been behind the scenes this whole time, though, because there was a moment in WandaVision where like you see one of the newspapers and it was just like 2 hydrants or something, and the way the paper was folded, it said Hydra.
And all the commercials had Hydra related, like little like blips here and there. So yeah, they're I feel like they're just one of those things that's just always looming in the background. It's
always going to be there, right? And like it's still going to be secretive, but they're kind of rebranding themselves, maybe.
Yeah.
With
a fresh new look.
Yeah, fresh new look for Hydra. But with Zemo going to the raft, which if you guys don't know is like basically the floating penitentiary in the Marvel universe, which is run by Thunderbolt Ross of all people. I don't know. I'm going to go the Thunderbolt route. I think it's going to be technically it's like Marvel Suicide Squad. It's like like Villain Avengers is what it is, and it's run by Zemo in the comics. And, the lineup was obviously different. I guess, we should just talk about what we think is going to happen in the conclusion and, what's in that case. I mean, I think I have an idea, because there is, there's a comic book arc where Sam Wilson is technically Captain America. Not technically, he is Captain America. And his flight suit is red, white, and blue. So I think that might be what it is. But I'm kind of hoping that it's not, though. I kind of hope that it's kind of like a mix between like, this is you are an American, but your suit also kind of represents your heritage also.
Yeah.
Because it was made by Wakandans, you know what I mean? I think that would make sense to do that. I don't think they would be into the red, white, and blue thing.
Yeah, I would like to see it represent him more than just being like the stars and stripes. Because while he is taking up the mantle of Captain America, he's like he wants to make it something different. He wants to make it his own and change the narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. And those wings are vibranium, no question. No question.
Yeah, they're not getting ripped off this time.
No. Oh my God, that was awesome.
That was so awesome. Heartbreaking. Like the look on his face just wrecked me.
Well, one of the gifts of the show that only shows up maybe 3 or 4 times, Torres. That guy's awesome. Mm-hmm. I love that character. And actually, in the comics, Torres becomes the new Falcon. So I think that whole thing with keep him was basically like, you know, like Rhodes with War Machine. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, keep him. I don't know how you guys feel about it. It would be really shameful if John Walker just died at the end of this show. I was
literally thinking that as you were saying, what do you think is going to happen? I think he's going to die. I think they're going to have a final showdown and he's going to just be yeeted from existence.
I think we're going to see U.S. Agent for years and years to come. That's what I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I just listen. I don't think you get a performance like Wyatt Russell's and just like let it go. You know what I mean? Like mm-hmm. It just doesn't. I don't know. I definitely. Well, I mean, obviously, you know, if he's having a conversation with Julia Dreyfus and you know, we're talking about the Thunderbolt thing, then obviously, like, you know, he would be part of the Thunderbolts, I would think.
Well, he made the shield and he put his medal on there, so obviously he's planning to do something with it. And mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you guys want to see happen to Isaiah Bradley? Because for me, I've heard it mentioned in other conversations before, but this is something that I had in my head initially. It would be great if, just like Steve Rogers, the Smithsonian actually had an exhibit to Isaiah Bradley, and you see people actually looking in the history going, I had no idea about any of this. That would be awesome.
That would be the right thing to do.
Or just having Steve Rogers old Steve knock on his door to just say, I just wanted to thank you for your service.
I would like that more because Isaiah really, really put out there that he's like, I don't want to be brought back into the light. I want to stay dead, because the second he comes out, they're gonna eliminate him. So I think he just wants peace and closure and to just live out the rest of his life. But I think it would be really, really nice to have old Cap just come in and be like, I see you. I see what you went through and I recognize you.
Yeah. I guess all there is to say is that, this, they knocked it out of the park with this one too. Mm-hmm. I feel like I know this character so much better now.
Yes.
I think the most unique thing that we were talking about, even when we were talking about WandaVision, is like, they are taking these characters that, weren't necessarily, they're not the Tony Starks, they're not the Iron Mans or the, Captain Americas, not yet of the world.
Yeah.
But they are now to many degrees. I've never seen Wanda Maximoff and Vision as beloved as they are right now at this point in time. I mean, loved. And the same thing with these characters. And, same thing is going to happen with Loki. I know there's people that love Loki, like you, Di. But I don't think people understand him yet. You know what I mean? I think this is the show that's going to, make people fall in love with him too. So, they put their, they put their, second tier people out there and made them something. And that's brilliant. So that's our show. Took us a while to record it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's our show. Of course, like we said, please like and subscribe. That like button means so much to us. It definitely gets us out there in terms of the show and where we want to go. This is our 10th episode. Like I said, this is a milestone for us, because honestly, this is something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while in my career. I've always been passionate about all this other stuff aside from horror. And, honestly, I took a chance. I had that sign, like explode like Dirk Diggler like last year. And I was just like, you know what, I need to do this. I need to take this chance, take this leap. Mm-hmm. And, I assembled this team that I love, like my sisters already. And like they're my friends and my family, and I couldn't ask for two better people to do this with. And, you know, we're just going to continue to take this journey together. And it's been awesome, you know, just to do these, 10 episodes. And I feel like we're going somewhere. So that's exciting. So that's it. So if you guys are creatives, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, just press on, you know, have a thick skin, like I said before. And, you know, hopefully all your dreams will come true. And that's our show. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.